Right, here I am at Brodick Pier, and I'm just in time to see MV Alfred leaving the berth with the concrete ramp, and it's going to change position and come around and go to the other one, the berth that MV Caledonian Isles usually uses. Having a good look at it here. I'm just going to fire for a few minutes and just take this in. So I'm standing above the berth that MV Caledonian Isles usually uses, looking back at Brodick Terminal and Brodick in the distance. Very misty day, nice and calm, kind of drizzly, and MV Alfred is just coming round just now. I'm going to come back into view in a wee second. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I'm going to talk about the story, the big story of the day at the moment. And that is to do with the fact that 60 passengers had to be evacuated from MV Pentalina off the coast of Orkney last night as it became grounded following the detection of smoke in the engine room. Now, MV Pentalina is the ferry that this one, it replaced this one on that route. So the question mark is the terrible luck that MV Pentalina is run aground. Does that mean now there's a question mark over MV Alfred and our chances of holding on to this ferry? I'll read the story. MV Pentalina only returned to service on Wednesday. The operators, Pentland Ferry, said the vessel was grounded in St Margaret's Hope with 56 adults, 3 children and a baby on board, and that all passengers were safe. Those on board were taken ashore by an Arran lifeboat. The Rail and Maritime Union issued a statement. We are aware of a major incident on board MV Pentalina which has run aground, taking on water with a fire in the engine room. All passengers and crew are reported to be safe and accounted for. A thorough investigation will be needed to establish how this major incident aboard the Pentland Ferries vessel occurred. MSP Halker Johnson tweeted saying, "This is the boat which has been brought back into service to allow CalMac to charter the MV Alfred on the West Coast route." And then he spoke to Gary Brown and Lauren Haston, who were on the ferry. He said, "We were sitting in the lounge and Lauren, who's pregnant, was feeling lightheaded, so we went up onto the sun deck to get the fresh air. When we got there, we saw there was smoke coming from one of the engine rooms and there was an alarm going off in the area where they drive the boat. One of the staff members shouted to everyone to hold on, they were going to ground the boat. Then the boat pulled up to the shore just before the dock stopped. We got told to go to one of the lounges on the opposite side from where the engine was. We were given bottles of water. We were told that if we wanted anything from the car to go and get it and come back. When it came back, everybody was getting handed life jackets, and I thought this had escalated a bit. We were put on the lifeboats and taken to shore, and the emergency services were waiting for us. We were taken to a village hall and given tea and biscuits." So there's a major question mark over MV Alfred's continuing availability in the Hebrides after it ran aground. So in a statement, Pentland Ferry said the MV Pentalina is grounded in St Margaret's Hope. The vessel had 60 people on board, all are safe. It is understood water was also taken on in the engine room, and the RMT Union has called it a major incident. So there you go. That's the news regarding Pentalina. So fingers crossed we'll hold on to this vessel. But that's a big question mark. Just to tell you a little bit about this ferry again, MV Alfred. It's a Pentalina Ferries catamaran. It was built in August 2019 in Vietnam. It cost 16 million to build. It has cost 9 million to charter for 9 months, but that's all inclusive with the crew and everything that's needed to run the ferry. It would cost around 25 million to build now if it was being built in Europe. And this is a big deal because there aren't any catamarans on the west coast currently being used. So this is a trial of a whole new type of vessel really for the west coast routes. Here has been mooted as the potential base for this ferry. It's 85 metres long. It can carry 430 passengers, that's about the same as MV Alfred. It can take 98 cars. You can see from here it's an open car deck for a lot of it. So the lorries would go in the middle of the boat and the cars would go into 2 lanes at each side under the overhangs. You can see a sign on one of the overhangs that says 3 metre maximum, so that's the maximum height of anything going under there. But you get high vans and cars and everything under those overhangs. This is a handy boat. It doesn't have any raised decks to waste time getting up and down. The only problem is it's only got one door, so vehicles have to either reverse on or off or turn on the deck. I'm told that commercial vehicles usually reverse on and smaller ones can turn around and drive back off. So it would take longer to load and offload for that reason. But there are other catamarans now being built with a door at each end, a roll on, roll off. So that's not necessarily a problem if you're talking about this being a benchmark for other ones. There is a way around that with other catamarans. So you're not stuck with that long term. 98 cars is just slightly more than the capacity of MV Caledonian Isles. When MV Caledonian Isles was built, it could take 120 cars. But cars have got bigger over the years, and now it's down to 93 cars is the capacity without any commercials. So it's lost about a quarter of its capacity just with the changing size of vehicles. Of course, motorhomes and vans and things, you got a lot more of them. So this one takes 98, so it's comparable. MV Isle of Arran takes about 55. It used to be 76 when it was built. Again, it's come down about a quarter. There we go. I'm going to reach the back now. The advantages of this catamaran, or any catamaran, is it has a big capacity to take cars for its size. The passenger capacity isn't so high, but that's not really the problem. Most of the routes that we have are short on car capacity because people want to take their cars nowadays. It's not such a big deal for foot passenger space. It's cars, people trying to get booked on and struggle to manage. They're cheap to build and cheap to run. They're efficient to run, and they can also go at greater speeds than the mono-hulled ones. Approximately speaking, maybe 18 knots as compared to 14 knots. So they can be faster, and they're good in shallow water. There's a question mark over whether they're as capable as mono-hulls over in more stormy water. This one was on the Orkney to Caithness route. And Ayr is meant to be the potential base for this, but that's not all been decided yet. We'll just have to wait and see how these trials go, and this is the key moment here, because this is us coming right up to the berth, and it seems to be sitting nicely in there. See what happens when the car ramp comes down, of course. As Bob Haddow was saying yesterday, this vessel's only got the one ramp, so you've got vehicles going on one side of the ramp and passengers going on the other side, where that gate is. And they're segregated by that little gate which would open and let people on. So it's quite a wide ramp. We'll just have to see how they get on. At least it's here. Catamaran in the right berth at Brodick. That's a big story. It's just unfortunate that the other big story is the one with the MV Pentalina exactly at the same time. So the night before this happens, the same night as this vessel arrives in Brodick, we have the big story with the MV Pentalina. And by the way, I can't imagine what it's like being a non-swimmer getting taken off into a lifeboat and onto the shore. It must have been quite scary for them. So that is a big story. A fire in the engine room, taking on water, running aground, all these three things together. That's quite a big deal. So that's extremely unlucky. Fingers crossed that doesn't mean that we'll lose MV Alfred, but I'm not sure. Time will tell. As they say, all you can do is worry about the things you can control. Fingers crossed that this vessel stays with us and they find some other solution up there. Although it was described as a major incident, so I'm not so confident on that one. Right, just now the ramp has been taken up. That's the ramp, car ramp, which is operated from the ground. I'll just show you, I'll zoom in. So that ramp is moving and it's been raised to the right height for the vessel that's here. I think that's them just finished now. Yeah, stopped now. So our ramp's in the right place. What will happen with theirs? Making some adjustments. Got the port manager, Paul McCord, and the supervisor, Catherine McBain, over there, looking on, standing in the rain. Oh, now they're going huddling in the wee kiosk box there. Super Mario and Caitlin, as they're called by me. Oh, and there's the ramp going down now. Let's see what happens here. Seems to be going to plan. Engine shutting down. Going to tick over. Having a good look to see. Making a minor adjustment. Just checking it's clearing the concrete there. Okay. Another look. Yep, bring it down, that's what he's saying. One small step for man. One giant step for island kind. Oh, back up again. having a think. Ferry's coming back a bit. Ram's still up slightly. Yeah, he's happy, nodding. He's happy. Looks tight though, doesn't it? See mapping up. All tied up tight. Ramp's going down proper now. That's it, touchdown. There's Jake Kerr on the left, making minor adjustments on our side. I'm right above the ramp now. You can see exactly what the situation is there. The ramp just nicks onto the edge of that, of our fixed ramp and no more. There's that yellow barrier there. That's fixed in. So the cars would have to clear that, go past the side of that yellow barrier and then on that ramp at the end. They'd have to kind of turn at the last minute to get on there. Unless of course you switch the ramp to the other side. Yes, look at it, you can do that, can't you? We've got hinges on the other side. So you can take that ramp over to where these men are standing now and drive them straight up to the passengers on the other side. Yeah, so that would be okay. That would be fine. Yeah, you can see it's an interchangeable railing and ramp there. Pan up the rest of the vessel since we're just watching just now and we're having a wee think. Have a good look at it. That's what I was talking about with the loading lanes and the open deck. Two lanes each side under the overhang. You can see that just past those yellow poles, 3 metres high. And open air in the centre, not an enclosed deck. Quite sleek, isn't it? Of course, 2019 is only 4 years old, so it's really pretty much brand new. It still says Pentalina Ferries on the side, of course, because it is their ferry. Seems to fit, doesn't it? These guys are going to think about. If I had my good camera in my hand with the extra microphone, I'd be able to pick up what they're talking about probably. Minded the engine noise better drowned them out. That'd be funny. Oh, so there's the different colours of helmets there. So they're all having a good think there. And then they're all having a good think up there as well. Everybody's kind of looking chirpy. There's a few smiling faces about here, so it looks pretty good to me. Zoom back in on these guys. They're kind of laughing and joking and stuff. They're looking quite happy. Jake's telling the stories, that's the one in the red. He's been at Brodick forever. I don't know, 25 years something, I'm guessing. Well, I've been here for 16 and he was here for many years before me. Pure hand. Built his own house in Brodick, building it, still building it. Jake the caravan dweller, or as he and I call him, Jakey. Caravan Jakey. His house is nearly finished. Well, they seem happy. There's a bit of laughter there as well. All good signs. Yeah, that's all the conversation finished. Just ready to raise the ramp now. And depart the berth. There we go. Troubled men. I think I was successful. Okay, ramp up. I'll just come down a bit lower and show you the mist in the background. Looking over Brodick Bay towards Glen Rosa. Except you can't see very much of the mountains today. Ready at the rope there. Mighty T's his nickname. Firing. and straightforward. Right, here I am in Copperwheats Coffeehouse, coffee shop, with Bob Haddow and me, Dave the Rave. And I've rabbited enough about MV Alfred because I was out there filming, but Bob was down on the ground, closer to action than I was and talking to people. Bob, what did you think about the ferry coming in and tying up and putting the ramp down and all the other, what other gossip did you hear when you were down there from anybody else?
Well, I think that we've got some tricky little bits of the boat to fix to give a better access for the cars and the trucks. Other than that, she's very wide, but so is the berth.
Yeah, it's a wide berth,
so
yeah.
In terms of getting into the berth, she'll need to be neat, quick, and she's got plenty of power to do that. So
Seems like
pretty
it.
Good. Timing wise, she'll get in quicker than the big boats.
Yeah.
And of course, she can be practically pulled by hand because she's light at the stern.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the berth is concerned, she'll do the job. It's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a little bit tricky for car drivers going on up the ramp and then turning to get in underneath the frame. Trucks wise, we're waiting to see whether we'll have Arctics with tractor units or whether we'll have shunters as they have on the Isle of Arran. That's up to the management. Okay. Other than that, she fits, she runs, and let's hope it improves the services to Arran and the Western Isles.
And I was right about the interchangeable ramp, wasn't I?
Yes.
You can swap sides.
I think he may need to do some further work.
Right, John, okay mate.
He may need to go into the dock and get some further steel work done to confirm that ramp on the basically on the starboard side rather than the port side. Yeah. And the handrail also. But other than that, it's a dinky toy job compared to the size of the ship.
Right. And there were a lot of people out there. There was the port manager and I think his boss was there as well.
Yes.
And obviously the important ones from the ferry itself. And they all seem to have happy smiley faces as well from what I could see.
That. There were no fights, no fisticuffs.
No.
Great agreement that we've got a boat that will rescue the ferry services to Arran this summer.
It looks fine. My only thing I wondered about, the ramp was quite wide and it didn't have a big clearance on that concrete.
Correct.
Well, yeah, they had to be careful with that, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, I think for future thoughts the ramp might need to be a bit longer so the boat sits further away from the terminal ramp.
Yes.
The design of these boats is as short a ramp as possible. And that affects the tidal levels.
All right.
The tide in the Pentlands I think is less than here, which means that the ramp can be shorter.
Oh, I see. So it'll have to go up and down more at this one.
Well, it's longer. It's a question of best practice.
Yeah.
And the MCA has to approve it all.
And if they were berthing there, you know you can change the passenger and the car sides over, but you'd still need a ramp on both sides to get people up, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily. No. You go up. The boat's wide enough to turn your car on.
I mean, like, yeah, but see when it came in at the back of the boat, the ramp's on the opposite side, the flap was on the opposite side from where it would be.
On the port side, we want them on the starboard side.
Yes, but would you still need one on the other side there for the foot passengers as well?
That depends on I think from the look of it, the structure will accept a gangway somewhere off the existing gangway.
Right.
That needs to be re-engineered.
Oh, right. So they might be going on separately then?
Yes.
Okay.
The standard design in most countries is that you walk up the car ramp when you're a passenger.
Yeah, I remember you saying, yeah.
And if the Calmac attitude was build this new facility at Brodick and have the passengers on a covered walkway all the way, and we understand that Rosson's a copy of Brodick.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So fingers crossed that should still work out all right then?
Yes, we are only now hoping that things will turn out all right in Orkney with the boat going aground.
Well, that's the big story, and in fact, that's the overriding story now,
Yes.
isn't it? Because just as you and I were standing in the rain at 11 o'clock last night, at roughly the same time, that evening, the ferry that our ferry is being replaced by, I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? Any one of these three things happening, but all three things happened yesterday evening. It ran aground, it had a fire in the engine room, and it took in water, all on the same ferry in the same evening on the replacement boat that we need to keep running,
Yes.
or they might take our one back again.
Yes.
What do you think the chances are we're going to lose Alfred, Bob?
I don't know. I think that we maybe have an emergency situation where charter from Europe may take the case. There's certainly a number of boats in the Baltic which could run to Arran, and they're not the best of boats. And we've got one, of course, we've got one already on the Mull Run,
Right.
which Seymour bought, converted it, and it's running quite well.
Right.
So
Okay.
maybe that route.
So, I mean, I know you don't know because it's up in the air, but I did read in the newspaper in the Scotsman and the STV News that already there's a big question mark over Alfred remaining in Arran's or even Calmac's possession.
Yes.
And it seems logical to me that unless there's some contract that we can't lose it, it's Pentland Ferry's ferry, isn't it?
Yes, and of course the insurance companies come in now with what's
Yeah.
happened to the Pentalina. They have to cover the insurance and pay if it's difficult.
Yes.
She's got to go to a dry dock.
Yes.
So there's a dry dock in Greenock, there's a dry dock in Wall's End, but they're both a long way away.
Right.
And she get into the one in Aberdeen and it's not maybe too busy.
Okay. So, well, insurance won't be a big deal for us, but certainly losing Alfred would be just so bad.
Yes.
Just when it looks like it was actually
Yes.
all working out nicely.
Yeah.
You couldn't write it, could
Watch
you?
this space till we see what happens next.
Okay. Well, I don't know what's going to happen next, Bob. I don't know if we're going to have any rendezvous coming up or not.
Oh, I think there'll be further excitement. I'm almost certain there'll be a boat arrive from probably Norway.
All right. Okay.
They have a surplus of Brodick routing, which is the equivalent of Calmac and Seymour. There's a big fleet, and maybe they could drop one off.
Well, fingers crossed. In the meantime, I hope you catch up on your sleep, Bob, because you were up late last night and then back in first thing, weren't you, with your
Yes.
garage?
Yes.
So you didn't probably get your shredded beets so much this
No,
morning.
I'm going home to have them now.
You're going to hold down. Okay. Nice one, Bob. There we go.
Right.
Cheers, mate.